What's up, guys? So I got asked to make this video on how do you get a commercial account or a commercial property. So let's go.
My way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
So it really depends on the type of property you're wanting. You can do everything from manufacturing. You can do your local Burger Kings, McDonald's, dollar stores, Walmarts. You can do all that, or you can do apartment complexes, homeowners associations. I think homeowners associations are the easiest to get into. That's just my personal opinion. Other people may say different. But out of all the stuff that we've bidded on, especially apartment complexes and stuff, I feel like they are some of the hardest, okay? But you can do it. All you have to do is go and talk to the property manager or the landlord, tell them you want to put in a bid, and there you go. Usually, at least in Virginia, when you're putting in bids, they usually want them submitted by Christmas, okay? At the latest, they all have their own terms, so you need to talk to them. Don't waste any time. Even if you missed it for this year, and they say they've already done accepting them, then find out, ask for just a copy, and that way you can see what they like, what they expect of you. Ask a copy for that contract, and it'll have all that, and that way you know for next year what to expect, and you'll get a general idea. Okay, and that way it'll also have the date on there of when they're due a lot of times, and that'll be the same for the following year. It'll just be a different year date or whatever on the paper. But that way you'll know, and you can mark it down and keep track of it, and you will know when to get a hold of them, when to turn it in, and it will help you in the long run. Because we struggled with that the first year, 2 years, especially. This year we've just gotten to the point where we're actually able to keep track of all that a lot better and everything. So that's very important because you cannot miss those dates when they have to be submitted, okay? That is a key thing. So a lot of it is price. You're always going to have competition, and usually with commercial work, if somebody, they are $10 cheaper than you, then they are probably going to get it. It's just, commercial places have budgets, and the cheaper they can get it, the better they think. It's not always the best thing. I've heard horror stories from businesses that went that way, but a lot of times they don't have the say. They just have to go with it because that's what the owner or they're told to do. The person that signs off on the contract and picks them to do the work is not always in full control. We had that happen one time with an apartment complex, right? So the lady really liked us. She wanted us to get the property. She thought our price was fair and everything. But the higher ups, above her, they didn't want us. They wanted the person that was a little bit cheaper. And of course, they went with a little bit cheaper person. Okay? But don't sell yourself short on these commercial jobs, because we have done a few and they are a lot of work. They're big properties. Even the ones that you don't think look that big, they're still pretty big properties. Okay, there's still a lot that goes on, and a lot you have to do, and a lot they expect. And you don't want to go and be out there for long periods of time and feel like you're not making any money. Your goal, especially when you're starting out, is you want to grow your business as fast as possible and make that money. So don't sell yourself short on that, okay? Just come up with what you think it would be. There's no pricing thing. Everybody that I know of, I was even one of those persons, I got on forums and the internet, YouTube, everything, just search and search on what to charge these for these contracts, these commercial properties, but in reality, nobody can give you an accurate answer because that depends on the property. You just have to you have to learn as you go with it. You just kind of have to look at it and think about how long it would take you, how many man hours, and you just got to figure that out yourself. You really do. There's really no help out there on the internet clearly for it. I mean, there might be a base range, but it's not a guarantee. So, getting a contract from a commercial place is the simple part. That's the simple part. All you got to do is get a hold of somebody or talk to them, okay? And sometimes you can email out places. A lot of places they provide public housing, stuff like that. If you reach out to them, they'll email you their contract. You don't actually have to go by their office, stuff like that, But actually, just getting a hold of a contract for a commercial property is easy. Getting it is the hard part. That's the part that you really just got to figure out, and what it comes down to that they're asking, and if you're able to do it. A lot of commercial places, if you'll notice, they have sprinkler systems. Now, where I'm at, some do, but it's not as common because, just our climate. Now, if you're farther down south, you probably gonna have sprinklers everywhere. Over in California, I'm sure they probably have sprinklers on a lot of their properties. You got to learn irrigation stuff. You got to learn how to maintain that, because in those contracts, that's what they want. They want somebody to mow, trim the bushes, a lot of times pick up the trash. Even in this pandemic type, you're still gonna have to pick up people's trash, dog crap, irrigation, for our area and up north, snow removal. And a lot of times, like, we don't do snow removal. It just hardly ever snows, but a lot of places still want it included on the contract, and usually we just don't even get them, or we'll still put a bid in just for the mowing and landscaping, but they want the all-around package. And when you're starting out, a lot of times you just don't have that equipment. But again, some of that depends on your area. But there are places they'll hire a snow place, it's like snow removal. They'll have that separate, or they'll have an irrigation specialist, and you just handle the other stuff. But that's stuff that you do need to know and expect to see on those contracts, because you will see it. The last major thing about getting into commercial work and actually getting the contract is you have to have insurance, and that's another big thing. The more insurance you have, the better. So if 3 people bid on the same property, and let's say price isn't the only option, because it's really not sometimes. Sometimes it comes down to insurance policies, because when you're a company and you're looking at it, you want to make sure that person is properly insured. So if I got one guy that's bidding on my property that has $500,000 of general liability insurance coverage, I've got another guy with $1 million, and then I got somebody with $2 million. And they all bid around the same price range, but this guy's got $2 million of insurance coverage. Me, naturally, I'd probably pick that guy, because if something went wrong in that scenario, I would want to make sure he had ample enough insurance coverage to cover everything. Okay, the $500,000 policy, a lot of times they won't even touch you or contact you back. They want $1 million. That's usually the baseline for commercial work. $1 million general liability coverage. You got to get that. You got to have that. I'm just saying that wherever you are in the world, in the U.S. especially, that is the baseline. The more insurance that you have, the better. But standard is $1 million. I mean, you got to have that. If you want them to contact you back, accept your bid, so you can get the contract, get the work, you got to have $1 million general liability insurance coverage. Okay, it's really not that expensive, depending on who you go with. I think we went with Progressive, and out of all the other places that we reached out to, Progressive was really cheap, especially to our old policy. Our old policy, we had like State Farm, and we had a $500,000 policy, and it was $600 and some for the premium. It's crazy. And by switching to Progressive, we saved like almost $250, I think. I'm just going off my head. I don't really know, but I know it was like a $200 and some savings. But you definitely, and we had more coverage with Progressive too. So, that just depends on your insurance agent, but you do need that coverage. That is very important. See, in the beginning, we didn't worry about that. We just thought $500K was enough, and it really wasn't. We found out, we started talking to these places and asking, and they said $1 million was the base, so you need that. That's pretty much it, guys. That's all I know. That's all the information that I've gathered up from talking to these businesses, these places. That's usually what they say they're looking for. That's usually what I've seen on contracts, that the kind of scope of work that they're looking for, all that. But that's what to expect, guys. So I hope this video has helped. If it has, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Talk to me in the comments. I love to hear from you. I like to hear where you're from, what kind of business you got, and if you need me to do a video on something, just let me know. And thanks, guys. Be safe, stay kind. Until next time, peace.